What's up guys, CJ here and welcome back to another all-new Game of Thrones video. You know, while I love doing those season recaps, I've realized that it's just honestly really hard to compress the story arc of a whole season down to 6 or 7 minutes, and even then it's still hard for the audience to follow. I mean, especially as the seasons go on and more of even the minor seeming scenes can be important. So instead, I feel like what might be honestly more interesting and easier for you and me is to just follow the journey of a single character throughout the series up to season 7, which of course debuts this Sunday. Let me know who you'd like to see, but I figure we'd start the series with Jon Snow. His story had inauspicious beginnings. He grew up in Winterfell, oxymoronically the bastard son of Lord Eddard Stark, widely thought of as a noble and honorable man. He was raised, trained, and educated the same as Ned's legitimate sons, but always kept at arm's length because of his birth. Because of that, and seeking to make his own way, he followed in the footsteps of his uncle Benjen and joined the Night's Watch. But even there, he felt like an outsider, a noble-born, well-trained, talented warrior and leader among criminals, orphans, and other misfit toys, so to speak. He was named the personal steward of the Night's Watch commander, Lord Jeor Mormont, not so subtly being groomed for command when Mormont died. And while it took some getting used to, Jon and Jeor eventually became close. Jon saved the Lord Commander's life from a White Walker, which led to Mormont giving Jon his family's Valyrian steel sword, Longclaw. Shortly thereafter, Jon accompanied Mormont and a huge contingent of the remaining Night's Watch on the Great Ranging, a journey north of the Wall to confront and learn more about the impending threat of the Wildlings and the White Walkers. There, Jon split from the rest of the forces, traveling with legendary ranger Qhorin Halfhand to scout the Wildling army. Then, further separated from them, he met Ygritte, a Wildling woman he fought but couldn't bring himself to kill. Eventually, both Qhorin and Jon were captured by the Wildlings. In a last-ditch attempt to save Jon and give off the illusion that he was deserting the Night's Watch, Qhorin attacked Jon, and the two dueled to the death, with Jon eventually killing the legendary warrior and successfully going undercover. Along with Tormund Giantsbane, Ygritte, and others, Jon was tasked to climb the wall, attacking Castle Black from the south as a diversion for the massive Wildling army to attack from the north. South of the wall, Jon split from the group after he couldn't bring himself to kill an innocent farmer, escaping back to the wall despite being shot in the back several times by Ygritte as he rode off. After recovering from his wounds, Jon finds Castle Black somewhat less hospitable than he left it. Commander Mormont is dead, killed in a mutiny after much of the Great Ranging was killed by White Walkers at the Fist of the First Men. Soon after his return, the Wildlings attack, outnumbering Castle Black's defenders maybe 1,000 to 1, and they soon break through the gate. Despite this, somehow Jon leads the defenders to victory, turning back the Wildlings, but at a steep cost, as Ygritte dies during the attack. In the aftermath of the battle, something unexpected happens. Stannis Baratheon attacks the Wildling camp, killing the rest of the Wildling army and arresting the King Beyond the Wall himself, Mance Rayder. Shortly thereafter, Jon is voted Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, one of the youngest in its history. Unfortunately, he's not an incredibly popular figure with some of the men and has a rocky tenure. He faces some incredibly tough choices early on, having to execute insubordinate men and letting the remaining Wildlings settle south of the Wall in exchange for their support against the White Walkers. To accomplish that last bit, Jon sails with Tormund and several of the men to Hardhome, where the Wildling army retreated to after being shattered by Stannis. And while he's unable to convince all of them to move south of the Wall, some do. Unfortunately, right when that happens, who else attacks but the army of the White Walkers? They kill many of the Wildlings, but those that escape are let through the wall as Jon promised. This proves to be the breaking point for Jon's relationship with the Night's Watch. Luring him out at night with the promise of details on his long-missing Uncle Benjen, several of his sworn brothers led by Alliser Thorne and even his steward, Olly, take turns stabbing him repeatedly and leave him for dead. But even death can't keep a good man down in Game of Thrones. After losing Stannis after he tried to take back Winterfell, Melisandre agrees to use her Lord of Light powers to resurrect Jon. And so, after he'd come back to life, first order of business, execute those bastards that killed him. Check. Second, leaving the Watch. Check. Third, linking up with his sister Sansa in an attempt to take back Winterfell from Ramsay Bolton. Check. Raising an army of the remaining Stark bannermen, Wildlings, and with a clutch save from Peter Baelish's army from the Vale, Jon successfully takes back the castle, while Sansa feeds her former tormentor to his prize hounds. Stepping aside to allow Sansa to rule Winterfell as is her birthright, Jon is surprisingly recognized as a Stark and proclaimed King in the North by his bannermen, signaling a new player in this final showdown for the Iron Throne in Season 7. But in the biggest twist of all, Bran, still in the North, experiences a vision from Robert's rebellion. He sees a tower in a mountain range in Dorne. His father and several of his soldiers duel and kill Arthur Dayne, a member of the Targaryen Kingsguard. Rushing to enter the tower, Ned finds his sister Lyanna lying in bed, soaked in blood and dying from childbirth. She begs Ned to take care of her son, who would be killed if anyone knew his true identity. That child, Jaehaerys, was Jon Snow, not Ned Stark's bastard son, but instead the son of Lyanna Stark and Crown Prince Rhaegar Targaryen, making Jon the true heir to the throne. And that's where Jon's story is at, currently ahead of Season 7. Even without the confirmation of the R+L=J theory that I'd been standing since the first time I read the books, Jon's story has just always been incredibly interesting, really one of the low-key, key POVs of the series, with really the only focus on the real threat of the Night's King and the White Walkers. The only issue with that reveal is that outside of Bran, no one knows about it, so whether Sam finds some evidence in the libraries of Old Town, or Bran manages to link up with Howland Reed, who was also there, we'll just have to wait and see. That's gonna do it for me here though. Thanks for watching, don't forget to smash that like if you like what you saw, subscribe for more great content every single day, and let me know in the comment section down below if you'd like to see more of these in the future. Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you next time.